technology. Live and ready to go today. Isn't that great? We're going to upgrade the experience and upgrade the outcome all at the same time. It's fantastic, right? Make the most of every at-bat and opportunity that you have. All right, good morning. Thanks for being here, guys. Dom Gazzo out there. We got Duca, my man Rod. Thanks, Uncle, for being here. We got Tossie, Kayla, Harry. Thanks for being in the mix with us, guys. Appreciate it very much. Hey, I got a good one here this morning for you. Got a good one. So let's get right into it. Let's get it started. Hey, yesterday was my dad's 77th birthday. 77 years old, my father. And I got to tell you what, this man is an incredible man. I'm really, really proud of him. In fact, I ended the phone call. I had about a 20-minute conversation with my dad last night. I ended the phone call and made him emotional, which was a moment that was phenomenal. It was fantastic, right? May you always have a conversation with your father on their birthday and end with emotion, right? As we kind of talked about last time, or one of our last few times, your interactions with people that are important to you in life should end moving you in some direction. Mine yesterday did. And one of the things that I told him, I said, I just want to tell you, Dad, how proud of you I am. I'm proud that you are so engaged, so active, and so involved. See, my dad just finished telling me that in 2 months and 60 days, they're going to take a cruise from Portugal to Spain to England to Iceland for about a month. And by the way, 2 weeks ago, he was just in Florida for an entire month. And then he just told me before that hey, he goes, Jeffrey, I don't know how May 5th sounds, May 6th sounds. He goes, well, I think we're going to come in town because right after that, I'm actually going to be starting sailing lessons again. He actually teaches sailing to students, young students, beginner students, at his yacht club that he kind of belongs to and is registered to right outside of Detroit. It's called Lake St. Clair, right outside of Detroit, a little bit north of Detroit, right? And then he said, and then Jeffrey, a little bit after that, I'm going to go to the North Channel, and I'm going to sail the North Channel with 3 students. So that'll be something, too, that we'll have to plan around as well. And I said, Dad, you're going back up there, huh? He goes, yeah. He goes, 77 years old. You're rolling to the North Channel with 3 students. Not too bad. And if you guys don't know anything about sailing or anything about the Great Lakes, the North Channel is essentially the border of Lake Huron at the highest northern point when it goes right up against Canada. It's called the North Channel. And it's one of the most beautiful areas that you can possibly sail. And so he'll drive up there. They'll take a boat out of one of the ports on the east coast of Michigan, the upper east coast of Michigan, probably just north of like the Saginaw area, right just north of there, and then sail up from there into the North Channel. And so it was pretty awesome because this is a 77-year-old man, and he's got more planned, more going on. He's doing more experiences in life than maybe most people I know in my entire life. Besides, he's doing more dangerous shit than most of the people I know in my life as well, right? Like, this man's going to be on a 45-foot boat with 4 people sailing in open waters in the Great Lakes. I don't know if you guys know or not, the Edmund Fitzgerald. It ain't exactly the greatest, places to sail, the easiest places to sail, you know what I'm saying? And so he's not only teaching people how to sail and spending time and being patient and kind of coaching people through and developing people, but then he's taking the better students through an adventure that he's done probably 50 times inside of the last 10 years or so, maybe 15 years. And that is incredible. And then he's going to be on a boat and tour the world and tour parts of Europe he hasn't seen yet, right? Coming off and spending an entire month in Florida enjoying life. And it's inspiring. And I got to tell you, there's moments in my life that I never forget. And I'm going to go over one of them here today. But a precursor to the story is I once took a trip with my father. A couple times I've taken a trip with him. Actually, one of them we're going to talk about. But I once took a trip with my father and we were driving back. We actually went skiing at Peak and Peak. It's like an hour and a half from here, right? So he drove down for the day. We literally left at 7 in the morning, went skiing at Peak and Peak, and came back. It was a great experience. It was a perfect like one-on-one time, but it wasn't too long, right? It was just long enough where we could enjoy the day but come back and shut her down. And on the drive back, we had a real heart-to-heart. It's probably maybe 9-10 years ago. I had a real heart-to-heart, and we talked about what does the next chapter of life look like. Now he's been retired for almost 12 years now. Think about that, which is wild to say, right? And I said, what's the next chapter of life look like for you? And we started talking. I said, Dad, I just want to let you know I want nothing to do with your money, and I don't need anything in the future. What you give me, you give me. The best gift you could give me is live your life to the fullest and exhaust everything you have. That's the best gift you could give me for the rest of your life, because you will show me how it's supposed to be done and inspire me to live the same life as you when my time comes as well. And now to see my father actually doing that and describing it to me and motivating me to want the same things. You kidding me? I would love to live the lifestyle that my parents have right now and that they earned, by the way, through 30 to 40 years of hard work and by the way, raising 2 successful children, putting them both through school and setting them up for greatness, and now in a position to start paying for schooling for their grandchildren as well while they go on these adventures. You're looking for a definition of success. My father just celebrated his 77th birthday yesterday, and we'll give you a great one just by listening to what I just said. Nicest man you've ever met in your life, too. Nicest man you ever met in your life. Jeffrey, it's good to talk to you, Jeffrey. But I want to bring you guys back to about 9 years ago. 9 years ago, I took probably the best trip of my life. Now, I've been to some places. Been to Tahiti and Bora Bora. Been to some places, right? Been to some great places, some cool spots, right? Been to Banff, Canada, and hiked in the mountains, seen Lake Moraine, right? I've been to Rocky Mountain National Park. I've been to Cali. I've been to Malibu. I've been to some places. Done some things. Grateful, right? Grateful for everything I've been able to experience and earn. Well, arguably the greatest trip of my life was about 9 years ago. It was in a place called Tortola. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the city of Tortola. My friend, the world traveler Edmir Duca, may be familiar with the city of Tortola by chance. But Tortola is in the British Virgin Islands. It's the main city in the British Virgin Islands. And so I just told you guys a story and explained to you guys a story. My father has his captain's license, his admiral's license. He actually is licensed and certified to crew a boat of 50 feet or less in open water in virtually any area at this point in time in North America or around North America. In fact, last year, he just sailed the islands outside of, here you go, Duca, this one's for sure for you. He just sailed the islands outside of Vancouver and off the west coast of Washington. There's a huge island chain around there. He actually had to get ocean certification because of the tides and different things that happen. And so he's actually certified to not just crew, but actually admiral a boat in those waters. Pretty crazy, by the way, when you think about that, right? And so he's got a whole crew of friends. He's got a posse, right? He's got a whole posse of friends that they just crew up and do fun things with. In fact, they picked up pickleball here recently, which of course is a hot thing, especially for people in their 70s with a whole lot of time in their hands, right? He just picked up pickleball with his crew and was telling me about it last night as well. And so I had an opportunity presented to me 9 years ago where he said, Jeffrey, I'm going to go on a sailing trip. And I said, Dad, where are you going? What's going on? He said, Jeffrey, me and the crew, we're going to go down to the Virgin Islands, sail in the Virgin Islands. It's going to be wonderful. About 6-8 months before he had the trip planned and left. I said, Dad, you know what? I'm coming with you. And he was taken aback. He was shocked. He was shocked at that point in time, especially 10 years ago. Jeffrey, you know, like I'm 32. I'm like, you know, alpha style, like my own life, living life, doing fun things, partying, having fun, enjoying life. He clearly did not have a vision of me spending 9 days on a sailboat with him at that point in time in my life, right? And so I said, Dad, I'm coming with you. I saw a lifetime opportunity to spend time with my father and do something I had never done before that was completely outside my comfort zone, and I said, I want to do it. I was going to have a son literally 30 days after the trip was scheduled. So I'm like, I think my window's closing fast and tight. And so I'm going to go ahead and blast through it. I'm going to go ahead and blast through that window. And before you knew it, I'm on an airplane in the Atlanta airport on my way down to Tortola. Actually, in fact, on my way down to St. John's, because you got to fly down to St. John's. I believe it's St. John's. It's a U.S. territory. Maybe St. Thomas. You got to fly down to the U.S. territory, land in the U.S. territory, and then you got to take a freighter through customs to get into the British Virgin Islands, give your passport to the British customs, and then get through that whole thing. That in itself was a journey. I got to tell you, there's another story for another day. If you want to hear about the journey of how I got to the islands, and then you want to hear about the journey of how I got home, oh my gosh, those are two great stories that at some point in time I'm going to have to tell you guys, but that time is not today. So we get on this boat, 50-foot sailboat, 4 cabins, hold under area, right? Single hull, which means it's a legitimate sailboat, right? It is huge. It is a large boat. It's not a yacht, but this is a large boat. 50 foot's a large boat, guys, right? So I finally get to the dock, sunset, and I walk out to the boat, and I'm like, this is real. This is some crazy stuff. This is real. They then show me my room, and it was literally like this 4-foot by 5-foot little like slit in the side of the boat with a little mattress slit in it and a little closet. And it's got a little porthole on the top just to give you some air and make you feel like you're not actually in a coffin or imprisoned, right? And I said, okay, this could be an invention. It's definitely going to be an invention, right? And so we woke up the first day and we sailed out of Tortola. Unbelievable. We went counterclockwise. For those of you online right now, feel free to Google British Virgin Islands, Tortola, and I'll take you on a trip real fast. Go south of Tortola, then go west and head west counterclockwise. And we rolled the British Virgin Island chain counterclockwise for 9 days. And so for the first 2, 3, 4 days, it was just epic moments, right? We were literally sitting on the perch in the back of the boat. I have, honestly, because the boat keels over when it gets windy, right? So I literally am leaning on the low side of the boat, my hand dragging across the water as we're sailing off in a few knots, right? flying along, just looking at the islands around me, feeling the cool breeze, thinking, this is not real life. This is insane. And then every single night, we would then moor. We'd roll up to a mooring ball, clip onto a mooring ball, where my father, my 60-some-odd-year-old father at that point in time, is literally leaning off the front of the boat, literally over the front of the boat with somebody holding onto him, trying to clip onto a ball as we're rolling past. It's like trying to hit a moving target with a boat. And what I realized quickly on a sailboat is there's no brakes. There's no brakes. You know what I'm saying? So like you go where you go. You're going in the direction you're going, right? And you have to turn momentum instead of hit the brakes. Wild. If I tell you guys a story about a guy that parked a boat in a marina for us about day 7 or day 8, this dude literally spun it 360 and reversed it into a slot like he was parking a Toyota in front of a Morton's. It was unbelievable. The experience I had when I watched this guy do this stuff, I could not believe it. Clearly that man had a job for life. But I want to get to the meat of the story here as the time goes on. And that is day 4, day 5 is where things started to get interesting. Because up to that point in time, it was decent winds, good enough for us to get some knots, some speed, really do some sailing, and we were hopping island to island. But we really hadn't seen any conditions really change. It was consistent. It was utopic, to be honest with you. It was absolutely pretty. It was 75, 80 degrees, sunny, light breeze, light waves, easy cruise. It was unbelievable, picturesque at the very least. And so we're rolling along. We wake up day 7, day 8, and we're rolling through again. We start the day, sails are up, we breach the cove, we're out up into the open, we make our tack, we head for our direction, we're going to this island, and I think it was maybe even one of the islands where I was actually able to sit on a deserted island for about an hour just by myself. That was an experience in itself as well. And all of a sudden, something changes. You start to feel winds a little bit heavier. You start to feel the boat rocking a little bit more. And then you know what you do? If you're like me, when the plane hits turbulence, what's the first thing that you guys look at? What's the first thing you look at? Do you guys know? This is the life hack. Close your eyes and hold on for dear life. I actually do that too to a certain extent, right? When the plane hits turbulence, the first thing you want to look at to calm your mind is the flight attendants. If the flight attendants are still serving drinks, take a deep breath and keep going, right? If the flight attendants aren't serving drinks, but they're still kind of walking around, making sure everybody's good, doing their thing, you're good. It's when the pilot comes over the intercom and goes, hey, flight attendants, please take your jump seats real fast. We got some turbulence coming up where you're going to need to pop a Xanax, take a deep breath, and get ready for what's coming to you. You know what I'm saying? And I've been through those moments as well. Trust me, I really have. In fact, I just read an article this morning about Matthew McConaughey where a flight dropped 4,000 feet and he said his red wine glass was suspended in midair in front of him while it happened. That's an experience that I choose not to have. And I can tell you a story about that as well. So we get out into the open water, winds are picking up, and I look at the flight attendants. But in fact, we're no flight attendants. There's a crew of grown men on a boat. And I start looking at the crew of the grown men on the boat, and I say, all right, what do these guys got going? Because things are getting a little rowdy. I'm having to hold on to some stuff. We're like sideways. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this or not, but you're literally sideways like this on a boat, right? In fact, I have pictures where the whole picture is like this, and the horizon's in the background, and it's like at a 45, 50-degree angle on the horizon. It's an incredible picture. When you turn it sideways, people are like, oh, shit, when you line up the horizon with flat. And so we're rolling along, and all of a sudden, I look out into the water, and I see 6 to 7 foot swells. That is a wave, for those of you who don't know. 6 to 7 foot swells. And I go, whoa, this is interesting. And we start going into the swells. And I say, all right. And so my dad's smiling. The captain takes the helm because he's like the guy, right? There's always a designated guy. He's the guy. He takes the helm. Everybody gets in their spots, pulling the sails, pulling the front sail, tighten things up, get ready to go, read the wind, make course, set tack. And they aim for the waves. So hold on a second. What are we doing right now? Aim for the waves. They're literally pointing towards the biggest section of waves. I said, guys, the cove's over there, the nice water's over there, we're aiming over here. And they look over at me, they go, Jeff, we're here to sail. And I paused for a moment. I said, all right, hell yeah, let's sail. I'll make sure I got my life jacket strapped on, you know what I'm saying? You got those special life jackets that explode as soon as they hit water. I got one of those bad boys on, right, ready to go. I'm like, let's sail. That's right. I came here to sail. Let's sail. And so they set out, and before you know it, boosh, boosh, boosh. And this is the boat going 6, 8 knots, which is a pretty good speed as a sailboat, right? Going up to the crest of a wave and coming down into the trough. You guys have seen the movies, you've seen shows and pictures of these huge sailing fishing boats. Now those are 10, 12, 20-foot waves, right? These are 6-foot waves. But we're going up a 6-foot wave, I can assure you that, right? Maybe 7 at its highest peak. And we go to the top of the crest, and then the whole bow of the boat comes straight down into the trough, right? And then what happens is the most dramatic thing you've ever seen in your life, which is the wave breaks over the bow, comes over the canopy of the boat, and goes whoosh, and water just literally flies over your head. And whoosh, right? And then you're like, whoa! And you're holding on, and these guys are literally on the boat, smiles on their face, like they've never been in a more fun and exciting situation their whole life. And I'm looking around like, what the hell is going on? And am I going to make it through today? So you know what? The best part is as we're rolling along, everything gets a little bit more comfortable, clearly. As you ride out the waves, things become a little bit more comfortable, right? You become more attuned to the situation you're in and your circumstance. You begin to adapt and be able to focus, right? The fear dissipates and you begin to put your energy towards what you're doing. And then the captain looks over at me, he goes, Jeff, grab the helm. Huh? Grab the helm. Come on, grab the helm. They're tightening down the sails. We just flipped over. I'm reading the whole thing on the thing. Where's the wind going? What's going on? I'm like, this is wild. And so the way you grab the helm is I get out of the seat I'm in, and you literally got to walk up the boat, right? Because once again, we're sideways. So I got to walk up the boat, grabbing shit as I go, making sure I don't grab anything that will cut my finger off, by the way, if it moves quickly, right? Literally, no dramatic. And so now I'm walking up the boat, and I get to the helm, and I'm literally sideways up on this boat, holding onto the wheel, right? And my dad goes, hey, you see that island out there? I'm like, yeah, I see the island. He goes, just point the bow at the island right at that mark. You see that little white mark? I go, yeah. He goes, just try to stay on the white mark. I'm on this boat. He goes, just try to stay on the white mark. I go, Jesus, is it all right if I'm a little off? He goes, yeah, just steer back every time you come off the trough of the wave. I'm like, this is crazy. Right? Unbelievable experience. I'm telling you, goosebumps right now describing it. This is exactly how it went down. And then what I have to tell you is about 10 minutes in, I started getting excited and steering towards the wave. I said, oh, there's a big one. Let me get this motherfucker. Right? And then I started to say, the water would wash over the top. I put my hand up, touched the water as it came over the top of the boat. That's right. Right? And it'd be touching the water again. Here we go. And for a half an hour, 45 minutes, I don't know, it felt like 4 days. I'm at the helm of this boat, sailing. And it made me think. It made me think about a cliche line, but that resonated with me for my entire life. More from that moment on, and for one other moment I'll tell you here in a moment. Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. You see, just setting your tack, auto-setting on the cleat, so you can put the ropes in the cleat, and you can just basically autopilot a sailboat. It's great. If the wind stays blowing in a certain direction, you don't have to do a damn thing. You literally sit on the boat for an hour, and nobody touches shit. It's unbelievable. It's literally autopilot. You're cruising along, and nothing happens. The captain's at the wheel, but he's not really touching it. He's got like a finger on it. You know what I'm saying? Do one of these. Kind of like us on the freeway, right? And what I realized after that experience, in reflecting, in those moments, shoot, at the end of the day when I'm sipping on a beer on this beautiful Virgin Island beach, I'm thinking to myself, that was sailing. That was real sailing. That wasn't a day cruise. That wasn't this is a nice little time to do this little thing. That was real life sailing. And what I know with certainty is smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. And it takes those types of waves, that type of uncertainty, those types of trepidations to be able to master the skills and walk into the stress, to be able to shape who you are and not break who you can be. And so the way I live life and the way I want to live life moving forward, and I just texted one of my best friends, he's going through it 2 days ago. He's going through it right now in life. I said, look, every single day, his name's Joe. I go, Joe, every single day, You're going to wake up and emotion is going to be delivered to your doorstep. See, we don't have the opportunity to control what emotions come to us. We're humans. We're emotional beings. Emotion is going to be delivered to your doorstep. And more times than not, when you go through trials and tribulations, those emotions are not going to be kind or favorable. But what I can promise you is you can make a decision every single day you wake up. You can either make the choice to let it shape you, like beautiful rock sculptures, or break you, like the fragments of rubble on the ground. You can choose. See, those winds can either push our boat in the direction we want to go and head forward into sailing and experience, or those winds could push us back into the cove and moor for the day because we're too scared to do it. They could either make us better sailors, more experienced, have better stories to tell, or they can tell us we're not good enough, we can't do this, or it's too scary, or we might lose. And we get to choose on that boat. Shit, I had no choice for the record. But we get to choose on that boat where we're going to go, how it's going to shape us. And we damn sure get to choose for it not to break us. Fast forward, a while later, years later, month 2 of my divorce, as things are starting, I'm in a house Will Smith style, empty. Huge open house. You guys remember the last episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Huge empty house, right? And they're walking through it and it kind of creates emotion. That was my house. I had one bed, 4,000 square foot house. One bed in my bedroom, no TV in my bedroom, not even on the wall, just a bracket on the wall. I had one couch, 3-seater small couch, and a footrest in my entire house. Everything else was gone. And I had a choice in those moments as I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself, being depressed, sitting in the darkness, literally and figuratively. I had a choice, and I made a decision in that moment. I made a choice in that moment that this is either going to break me or it's going to shape me, and I better decide right now which direction I'm going to go. Because this is going to end, and I don't have a choice anymore. And so what choices I do have is how will this shape me, and how can I become a better man from the experience I'm going to go through, regardless if I have a choice or not. Or I have a choice to just let it break me. I chose the shape. I chose to rise up and level up. My girl Andrew Day. Better rise up and win, rise up. You never heard it, it's a great song. So you know what I did? I'm online, pull up my phone, say, you know what, I need inspiration. Because I can't go to sleep looking at an empty TV bracket for a big screen that used to be there and remind me of where I'm at. It was just the example, right, of where I was at. It was a metaphor, I guess, of where I was at, right? So I went online, I bought a poster. I bought a huge canvas poster. It's in my bathroom today. I look at it every morning when I wake up. This little boat going up this massive wave right in the middle. Going right up the middle of this massive wave. Smooth seas. Never made a skilled sailor. And I took that canvas and I put it right in the middle of the TV bracket, perfectly aligned with my bed. So every night I went to sleep, the last thing I saw was that. Every morning when I woke up, it was the first thing I saw in red. And it reminded me of the moments I had on that boat in the Virgin Islands. And it reminded me that every day I have a choice. And it reminded me that if I want to become a great man, if I want to become a great father, if I want to become a great leader, if I want to fulfill what I believe are my destinies in life, then bring the fucking waves. Because I've never met somebody in this world that defines greatness that doesn't have the stories of riding up to the top of the crest, going right down to the bottom of the trough, having the water splash over the top of their head and say, holy shit, that was an experience and it made me better. Regardless if they chose to be on the boat or not. So what we're talking about is perspective. What we're talking about is belief. What we're talking about is choices. You have the choice to create a belief system that enables you to have the right perspective regardless of your circumstance. Your circumstances in life will be presented to you often and in all varying degrees. Many a times your circumstances will not be in alignment or directly favorable to what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. This is life. That's how it works. It is on you to understand that your circumstances do not define your possibilities and your outcomes. How you respond to the waves beating your boat relentlessly will set the ceiling on what's possible. Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. You have a choice. It shapes you or it breaks you. And that choice is actually every day that we wake up as we begin to embrace the challenges in front of us in life. Grab the helm. Put a smile on your face. And be like my pops. Where the lasting vision in my mind that brings me to emotion today is him riding through these waves on this big boat, looking over to me as I'm sitting right next to him on the other side, going, Jeffrey, isn't this great? This is living. That's sailing. And that's life. Appreciate you guys. It's one of my favorite ones. Carry that with you. Reflect for a few moments after this. Even 2 minutes, if you sit down in silence and just think about the thoughts that are going through your mind, the emotions that you may feel right now, take some notes and think about how you're going to use this moving forward to make yourself